Will P-Car Market manage to find a way to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars on this Mercedes SLR, or will they actually be able to get $1 million for this thing on their platform? We're going to make that prediction plus a whole bunch of other predictions, and we'll go over the predictions we made on the last episode. This is Bid Nerds, and the bidding starts now if I hit the button. Bid Nerds is your YouTube card game show. The thing. There it is. Welcome to a brand new Bid Nerds, everybody. I got to find the buttons. My name is John Polnick. We're coming to you live from the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas, as well as my partner, Michael Deeb, right over there on the left side of your screen. That's Michael Deeb in San Francisco. How are you, Michael Deeb?
Just like the old days, JP, where you and I trip across the starting blocks. Yeah. Welcome to the show, everybody. So good to be here. Damn, JP. It's actually cold in California. I wish I was out there in the heat, in the Container Park, in the little oven with you in Las Vegas, man. How is life? What's going on? Did you do any car stuff this weekend?
Man, all I do every day of the week is think about Bid Nerds and getting to the show. Just hanging out with the nerd herd is my favorite thing in the world to do. Hey, everybody, thanks for hanging out and watching us. If you're watching us live right now, you're hanging out. If you're watching this live and you're not part of the nerd herd, if you're not in the chat, make sure you do so right now. Go introduce yourself in the chat, and you're going to make some really good friends. I mean that. Great people in the live nerd herd. And if you're watching this after when we're not live, thanks for hanging out. Make sure you hit the subscribe, like, and notification button. What we do on this channel is we find the most interesting cars from all the automotive enthusiast auction sites like Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, P-Car Market, and more. We find the most interesting listings. We analyze those listings, and then we make predictions. We always start off every episode. How crazy is this? Again, if you're new to the show, I hope you're sitting down. We hold ourselves accountable. That's right. We go back and we talk about the predictions we made on the last episode, see how we did. So let's get right to it. See if you guys can beat the nerds. That's my partner, Deeb, and I. What was the first car that we made a prediction on the last episode? How'd we do, Michael Deeb?
JP, we are going to circle right back to this. Is it an exotic or isn't an exotic? I think that's the argument we should have made. A 2003 Aston Martin DB AR1 with a 6-speed manual was running as both a premium and an alumni listing on Bring a Trailer when we did the last show. Super interesting car, JP. This is a true coach-built numbered car by Aston Martin. In this case, the coach work and the sheet metal was handled by the folks over at Zagato. Not immediately recognizable as a Zagato because I think one of Zagato's hallmarks is the double bubble on the roof. So when you have a convertible, how can you tell it's a Zagato? You have to look at the price tag, I guess. In this case, JP, number 29 out of 99 made for the world. What's really cool for me is I don't think I realized that they made very many of these with a manual transmission, certainly not in the States. So a very rare car by the numbers, and even rarer still when you consider that this is a 3-petal experience. The question is, do the collectors favor this car? Will it be worth a ton of money? Because, man, when these cars came out, the speculators were trading them for closer to $1 million than $100,000, JP, and that's why I don't remember us looking at one of these in the last 2 years, so I thought this would be fun to take a peek at. Very pretty assets. Classic.com tells us that the DB AR1s, with or without the 6-speed manual, typically sell for about $245,000, and I'm telling you that number is way down from what it once was. JP, I thought this car would struggle to break $200,000. This was not a particularly amazing period of time for Aston. Most of the cars they were penning or designing in-house were prettier than this coach-built one. So my number, just $196,000. John, you did take the over on this. You went up to $225,000. And comedian, celebrity, and SAG card carrying Alonzo Bodman. Am I saying it Bodman right? Yeah.
Bowden, no M.
Bowden. Yeah, Alonzo Bowden joined us. I take it, JP, since he rode a motorcycle to the studio to be with you on the show, that he lives, or at least currently resides, in Las Vegas. He was a fantastic guest. Lots of positive feedback on him in real time from the Nerd Herd. Everybody seemed to love listening to him wax poetically about his views on cars and the market in large. JP, he was very bearish on this one. His number way under mine at just $175,000. JP, this was an interesting result. Our car hammered for $211,000 where it sold on, let me do the math for you, 37 bids. So JP, am I closer or are you closer? What are you away? You're 11. Yeah, I guess you're $9,000, but you did beat me by that one. Okay.
Yeah.
So you beat me by $1,000, to be honest. So there you go. JP, I mean, God, if this guy sold this car before COVID, would it have gotten well over $300,000? You know what I'm saying? Like, the market has fallen off on stuff like this, you know?
Yeah, we have the result. I mean, this car was sold in 22 by BAT, this exact car, and this is $54,000 less than what it sold for last time on BAT. So in just a few years, we're already seeing these drops. Look, Aston Martins are beautiful. Everyone in the nerd herd kind of agrees that yes, it's an exotic, but the fact is there's just not that many people looking for something like this, right? I mean, at any given time, there's over 100 Porsches for sale on Bring a Trailer at any moment, 100 to 150. Maybe there's 2 or 3 dozen Ferraris, but Astons, there might be 4 or 5. That's because there's just not a lot of people that want these. And from this era, we've seen a lot of the 12-cylinder cars from this era seeing really nice appreciation if they have 3 pedals, and this car has 3 pedals, so it felt like it should have been part of that. I don't know, that group of cars that's kind of coming up, right? But it's just not, because there's not enough people that really care. I mean, I just think the legend of the James Bond car is done. There's just not enough people. There's not, young people aren't sitting there going, oh, I'm cashing out my Bitcoin, or I just got my video game company bought by some tech bro, so I'm going to go out and buy some cool exotic. This isn't the exotic that's on anyone's list, and I don't think very many people even know they exist. A brand new Aston might be on one of those guys' lists, but not this one. And so it's kind of sad because it is a 3-pedal car and it's got to be fantastic to drive. I've never been behind the wheel of one though.
Yeah, but would you rather have a BMW 850 CSI? You and I have covered a handful of those over the last like year, or would you rather have this? Now I know you like this because it's convertible, but would the Aston part of it keep you away if the money was equal?
Of course it would. Yeah. I mean, the BMW is way less and looks. I mean, that BMW 850 is one of the better looking cars of all time. Compared to this thing, it's straight. I mean, this is challenging when it comes to looks. And Aston Martin makes some pretty cars. This isn't really one of them. I hate to say it, as much as I love cabs and stuff like that. So this is not only got 2 strikes. I mean, it's got the Cabriophobes that aren't going to like it. Plus this. I mean, look at that. That's tough to look at. All right, guys, what do you think of the results of this Aston Martin not making the 250 like it did last time, or 260 really? Let us know what you think. Are these coming up? Is this now the time to buy one of these as crypto's going up? Let us know, and let's move on to the next car. What do we got?
JP, we're going to circle right back to the 1990 BMW M3 Sport Evolution that ran as a premium listing on Bring a Trailer by the folks at Enthusiast Auto Sales. This car is located in Glenpool, Oklahoma, showing 122,000 kilometers. That is about 76,000 miles. Now, they only made 600 of these cars between 89 and 90. This particular one was imported to the United States in 2021, as this particular model of the Sport Evolution was never homologated or federalized to be sold new in the United States. So this was one of those unobtainium special editions of the M3. In fact, this was the last of the M3s that they made, thus being the best. So they made the most horsepower. It had better suspension, better brakes, better shifting, slightly more aggressive aero. And JP, the E30 M3 is already one of the classic, poster child of the 80s and early 90s with those box fender flares. But this is the one with the hottest motor that BMW ever sold to the public. The only way to get more power out of this is either build yourself a motor or have been able to purchase a race car from the Skunk Works. So pure unobtainium. The question is, when we look at kind of a softening of the collector car market, we always say, or we typically see, I should say, that the more special, the more rare models, they continue to appreciate. M3s, JP, even though we haven't covered a lot of them, have been softening in the secondary market. would and Sport Evolution on a domestic title in the United States still bring kind of what we would say, quote unquote, record money? JP, Classic.com tells us that Sport Evolutions are typically $189,000 in the secondary market. I thought this car with a few miles on the odometer would do just that. My bid, $190,003. JP, you took the under by a grand, $189,003. And Alonzo say it again for me, Bowden. Alonzo Bowden, who joined us as third nerd in studio, which was really fun to have him on. He took the over. He really believed in this car. His bid, $195,000. So two things I want to unpack from this result, JP. One, our car only hammered at $158,000. But damn, it sold for that number on 31 bids. Now, the folks at Enthusiast Auto are M specialists. If you are looking for a rare M car or a top quality M car, the folks that are located in Cincinnati, Ohio at Enthusiast Auto Group are fantastic. Really nice folks over there. They've got a great selection of cars, but they typically charge the moon for anything that they have. The fact that this car was let go for just $158,000 makes me think I should have been on it, JP. It's hard to imagine you could get one as nice as the one we see in these images here, coming from those guys who are relative experts. If they've gone through the car, they'll basically know that everything's been addressed, or you'll have a really handy, estimate in front of you of what might need to be done to continue to enjoy the car the way you would like to. But just 158 for one of the hottest M3s they ever made seems like a steal to me. I'm sure our bid turn will tell me I should have read the notes and maybe I missed something. But man, JP, we were all closer to 200 than 150. If you would have told me it hammered at 158, I would have said for sure it was an FTS. The fact that it sold for that number makes me feel like the car was well bought. Where are you at on that result?
Yeah, I mean, given the results that we've seen on E30 M3s over the last couple of years, I feel like that's pretty good. I feel like that's kind of like they were flat, they were down and then flat, and now maybe we're going to see an uptick. It'll be interesting as this result will probably bring some more regular E30 M3s to market. I mean, look, the bottom line is BMW has shot themselves in the foot and has destroyed their brand. BMWs, they're the most hideous enthusiast cars on the planet when it comes to the new models that they make. Nobody wants anything they make right now unless you're just like, I can't imagine the person that's like, oh, dude, I can't wait. I'm going to go get a new BMW fill in the blank. Said nobody in the last 10 years, right? I mean, they're just so ugly. And, the only time you hear about them in the news is when everyone's ripping on them for charging you a subscription fee for the heated seats. I mean, it's just and once they blew out their nomenclature, their whole 3 Series cars, 5 Series cars, 7 Series cars, when it was really easy to kind of see and differentiate the different models. Once they started going, okay, now there's a 3 Series and there's a 4 Series and there's a 5 Series and a 6 Series and a 7 Series. It's like, what number doesn't have a series? There's just series for everything. It's just like, relax, guys. I don't know what anything is, and an M3 is a 4-door car now. That doesn't make any sense at all. They just squandered probably the second greatest brand in sports cars, second only to 911. I mean, and that's not just because I'm a 911 fan, but 911 and M3 were ubiquitous. Everyone knew what that meant. Now M3 means fast 4-door saloon thing. I don't even, it's like, get out of here with that. BMW sucks.
So true. They did just take one of the greatest brands, and ironically, JP, it was the second most recognizably marketed coupe in the world.
That's what I'm saying.
They threw it in the trash. I could not agree with you more, which just breaks my heart. It's more fun when we fight. But man, what a waste. And the fact that, a few years ago, you could get a really nice E30 M3 for 150 grand. Now you can pick up that same car for under 100. But the fact that now 150 gets you a real Sport Evolution seems like they're on sale. It'll be interesting to see if the E30 series eventually recover, because my God, everything else that's a young timer is on fire, but somehow E30s are soft. what has BMW done? You know, that's weird.
It's because, like, if you walk into their showroom right now with $150,000, what do you get? You don't even get a top-of-the-line car. You get, like, some mid-range
electric.
Something. Yeah, I mean, it's like there's nothing in there that BMW sells for $100. You can go get the best BMW ever. This one. You know, for less money than the average BMW on the showroom floor right now. That's insane. BMW has lost the plot. But what do you guys think? Let us know what you think of BMW and what they did with their M3 brand. Do you guys still like the M3 or M4? Let us know. Would you rather have any modern BMW over this one? Are you that crazy? Let us know. What's the next car on the list? What else did we make? What else did we make predictions on, Michael Deeb?
All right, JP, let's see what a turbocharged 1978 Porsche 911 SC Targa could do. Owned by the same guy for the last 45 years, JP, our car was listed out of Bourne, Texas on Bring a Trailer, showing 81,000 miles. Seems to me that this has a period correct to the SC era with a BAE turbocharger kit that was installed in 1982 when this car was just 4 years old. It's still shifting through its original 915 gearbox and a tile wastegate and blow-off valve, as well as fab speed motor and a SOX clutch. This car looks basically stock. The only telltale sign that there's something going on there is the dual exhaust. JP, I bet this car is a hoot to drive. The question is, will it bring any money? Our friends at classic.com tell us that the average selling price for a Targa, where did the Targa go? Turbocharged Targa. So a modified SC is about an $89,000 car, but most of those are coupes. I thought this Targa, JP, would ring the bell at just $59,911. John, you took the over at 68, and Alonzo Bodman took the Bowden split the difference between us at $65,000, much closer to you. John, were you surprised by this result? Our car hammered for $77,000 where it sold on 57 bids. That guy did really good. I do not think he left any money on the table. JP, do you think there was anything left?
No, I think that that's a really good result for a car that's not original, but it was basically an original owner. I mean, this guy owned it forever. He was in his 70s or 80s. And he's a really engaged seller. The assets are not great, but he was there, he was present, and he was very honest. Everything about this listing is very honest, and I think that's why the car did well. I mean, I don't think clearly the addition of the turbo on this car didn't add anything to the value, and it didn't take away anything from the value. Honestly, this is a car I was watching because I was like, you know what? If for some reason people don't appreciate this seemed like it may have been an opportunity to maybe steal a really neat car. And the fact is that just wasn't the case. People recognized how nice a car it is and the value of buying something from a longtime owner with all the history that goes along with it. So yeah, I'm pleased with the results and think that looks like the Nerd Herd kind of agrees with us. I gotta say, Deeb, you're mispronouncing Alonzo Bowden's name over and over again makes me feel better because you weren't in the studio before we started the show. I actually know his name. I knew who the guy was, and for some reason, before we went live on the last episode, I wanted to confirm how to pronounce his last name, and I accidentally called him Alfonso Bowden.
Yes.
And
that was so good.
He read me the right egg. He's like, yeah, I got nothing better to do. I'm just hanging out with you losers in your studio. I'm a famous person. Kevin, it's like I'm giving you my time and you don't even know who I am. I was like, thank God I did it off air.
The first of 6 times he offered to walk out of the studio on us.
He did. And I never got it wrong again. And now he's probably watching this follow-up episode going, what's up? I thought that Deep guy was my bro. What is happening? He's Bowman. He's not from Montana. All right, what do you guys think of the results of this Targa? Let us know in the comments. I got to say, it looks like there's a lot of new faces in the Nerd Herd tonight. Am I right about that? Deep, don't you go and cite anyone because you always screw it up.
Don't ask me. Don't ask me.
Let's get Chris Carbine out there. Chris Carbine, he's always keeping track of it. Chris, give me a list of names of new Nerd Herd members, and I'll try to shout them out on the show tonight at some point or another. I know Anthony Vieira from Our Smiths is watching. He's our big fan and sponsor, and he's the guy that serviced my watch right here. So if you've got a fine Swiss watch and you need some service, give our friends at Our Smiths a ring and they can get you hooked up. All right, let's get to the next car. What do we got?
All right, one more, JP. Let's wrap up the 1989 Peugeot 405 MI16 with a 5-speed manual. Our car was listed out of Olympia, Washington. But the big news here, JP, car's bone stock, doesn't look like it's been wrecked yet, and has just 43,000 miles on the odometer. Not that there's a big market for any Peugeot in the United States this century, to be perfectly honest. But this was a cool little, budget econo sport European sedan back in the day with 150 horsepower. Classic.com tells us nobody gives a rat's ass about what cars I select. These ones only ever bring at most $9,200. JP, I thought this car being so clean and low miles and the nicest one we've seen come to market in the last 12 years would bring $12,405. After you stopped laughing, JP, your bid was $7,500, and Alonzo Bowden, for God damn it, get it right. Alonzo Bowden was in studio. It was great to have him. Thank you again, Alonzo, for being on the show with us. That was a blast.
Hold on, Deeb. Hold on, before you get to it. Kevin Bodeman, not Bowden, Nerd Herd fan.
That's where I'm getting
would
wrong.
Like
Thank
us
you,
to
Kevin.
bring back Alfredo. Very nice, Kevin. Nice work. Nicely done. I like that. All right. So how much did this stupid French car go for?
Yeah, Alonzo's bid was $5,000. You and he just about split the difference there. You were a little bit closer. Our car hammered for $6,400 where it's sold. This car had a reserve, and I can't believe it wasn't over Classic's average at $10,000. So somebody had to get rid of that car, and not that anybody cares, but at $6,400, I'd say that's really well bought. I have no idea where you'd ever get parts for it, but my God, that seems like a lot of car for the money. There you go.
If it had a reserve, it was probably pulled at the last minute. Would be my guess. They were probably sitting there going, "Nobody's caring about this car. We're dipping out here. We're just letting them take it." Yeah, there's nothing interesting to really talk about this car. I remember test driving one back in the early 90s when I lived in LA. I used a Thomas guide to find the guy's address. That's how long ago it was. Pay B586. So we find the guy's place, and he was the weirdest dude, very, very Chimo vibey. And I get in the car, and we're going to go take the test drive, right? And so I start the car up. I'm in the driver's seat. He's in the passenger seat. He's telling me all about the car, and I think it had an aftermarket gear shift knob or something like that, because I'm like, all right, does this have a dog leg, or is this first? And he goes, oh, it's right here. And he reaches over from the passenger seat and puts it in gear. And of course, it just goes bang and clunk, right? Because it was running, and my foot wasn't on the clutch. Because a proper any human being that knows how to drive a stick knows that if you're just sitting there in the driveway with the car running, you have your right foot on the brake and your left foot off the clutch, right? You don't touch the. Or your left foot on the brake. Yeah, see, I can't even get it right now, and I don't even know what's going on. Anyways, my foot was not on the clutch. It was on the brake, right? And he put it in gear, and it made the most terrible sound. I'm pretty sure he broke something. It stalled. I just, look at him. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, dude, what am I doing? I'm just sitting here. You put it in gear. But why did you have the foot on the clutch? Because I didn't want to wear out your clutch. And I was like, I'm going to go get my Thomas guide and go home. So I didn't buy the ME16. Anyways, what do you guys think of the result of this stupid little French car? And have you ever test drove a car and had the passenger put the car in gear when you didn't know he was going to? What would you do if someone did that to you? That was right. What would you do, Deeb?
That would not have been good.
Right? And whose fault is that at that point? If he broke something, I had to get out of there because I thought he was going to try to charge me. All right, let's get to some new predictions in just a minute. Stick around. We're going to see if P-Car Market can manage to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. Where do you guys see this listing? Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair. Fine Swiss Repair. I'm looking at my Smith serviced Fine Swiss watch, and it is time for predictions. If you are new to the show and you're watching it live, make sure you introduce yourself in the live chat. Chris Carbine, our resident door greeter, will say hello. Have we got? Has Chris given us a list of the new guys here yet? What the heck is going on? All right, everyone's hanging out. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, guys. That really helps out. Gets more new people to the herd. Let's get to some predictions. That's what we do on this show. What was the first car on the new predictions list? What do we got? We're going to talk about this SLR. How bad is P-Car Market going to screw this one up?
Oh man, JP, this does I feel bad for the guy who's selling it, but then if you're the guy that owns this car and you're taking this car, your first choice is to go to P-Car Market with this car. I don't understand what you've been served, but you've had too much of it already. JP, this is a really special car. So Mercedes and McLaren had a big partnership racing in Formula One 20-something years ago. Hugely successful with Mika Hakkinen winning a couple of drivers' championships. And then they segued out of his career and into the beginning of the career of Lewis Hamilton, who wound up winning the championship. And somebody in the herd can correct me, 7 or 8 times. He's kind of the new king of Formula One. At that time, it was very difficult for the manufacturers to try to trickle down some of the technology they were using to race. But Mercedes and McLaren decided to collaborate and produce the SLR as an exotic car, as a halo car. This is before McLaren was producing their own vehicles, so they sort of lent some of the engineering that went into making this parts bin of a Mercedes-Benz a reality. So they started off with a coupe with these almost gull wing-like doors. They were kind of like hinged at the front, and they sort of went up. Then they did a Roadster, and then they did a special edition, JP, called the 722, and they did it as a coupe, the 722S and the 722 Roadster that we see here. So the 722 refers to Sterling Moss winning the Mille Miglia. I don't know if anybody went to go see the Ferrari movie when they see Portago kill all those people. But Moss and his Jenkins as his co-driver, they won the Mille Miglia right before the Mille Miglia stopped. It was a big win for Mercedes. They're very proud of it to this day. And so 722 was their starting time. Thus, that was the number painted on the side of the door, the racing number for the car that won the Mille Miglia. Here we are nerding out. This is what we do. So Mercedes continues to pay homage to that stellar victory, even though I think it was followed by a lot of tragedy. And so these 722s, I don't know how many they made, JP, but not very many at all. Let's see if P-Car Market would be nice enough to tell us how many of them came. Oh, and the story is right there on the homepage. I probably should have read the listing, but whatever. Anyways, 1,500 miles on the odometer of this car. It's listed out of Stony Brook, New York. Practically 0 miles, and some of the 722s in the coupes and the Roadster form have traded at times for $1 million. So JP, our friends at classic.com tell us that these cars are typically 800 grand in the secondary market, but I would venture a guess and say most of the 722s have between probably like 2,500 and 8,000 miles on them. This car at 1,500 miles this many years later is still pretty ridiculously low miles. This is still collector miles. I mean, look at the quality of these like sexy shots they did. I mean, the car it's on the showroom and it looks like it's in showroom condition. And that's sort of what you'd expect at this price point. The question is, can the folks at P-Car Market, have they cultivated, as they're running through the platform and they're doing less cars today, but they're doing a higher caliber of car? Do they still have buyers for this price point in their audience as we're in a year of change, a sea of change over at P-Car Market? This is an extremely special car. It's interesting to me, JP, that they chose to go the live online auction route over the live auctions that are coming up in less than 30 days from now, JP. And of all the live auctions, instead of going to BAT, where the audience for this car exists, they've taken it to P-Car Market. Does P-Car Market know the right people to call to get on this car and get it sold? And you need a couple of them because the car won't magically go to 800 grand or $1 million. You need people to fight over it to get it there. And that process is easier said than done. So we tip the hat to them. I'm thrilled that they're getting cars like this, but the only way they're going to keep getting cars like this is if they sell this one here. And JP, we're covering it today. It closes tomorrow, and I got to tell you, man, they're not even halfway there yet. They got a long way to go. So, JP, any love for the SLR? If you knew your Mercedes from that era, and JP, I know you and Rochelle used to have a 500 SL. If you look at the dashboard on this car, JP, I guarantee you your fingers magically know where to go to turn on the climate control and the radio and the headlights and the dimmers. This is a parts bin car, despite its exotic engine and long wheelbase. Everything on the interior was borrowed right out of the parts bin of Mercedes from that era. It's amazing to me that these cars ever became collectible because it seemed like such a half-ass effort. But this one's special. It's got a little more horsepower. It's got the side exit exhaust. It's got better brakes and better tires and better suspension tuning. If you had to drive one, this is the one that goes. And then, of course, the challenge of the platform. Where are you at, JP, on the SLR McLaren 722S Roadster?
Yeah, I mean, you certainly can't knock the car. These are unbelievably beautiful. They're stunning. The word stunning is overused. It's a hackneyed word, right? I mean, but when you see one of these cars in real life, you do kind of like, oh, wow, that really, no pictures do these justice. They really are, in fact, stunning. And I think what's more stunning is the fact that this car did actually sell on P-Car Market back in 2022 for $1,075,000. So This is a second go at the apple. I assume that the owner is saying, well, P-Car Market got it done back then. We think that we may as well give them a shot to do it again. But whoever owns this car hasn't been paying attention. They haven't been watching the trends. They haven't been watching P-Car Market spiral down the toilet when it comes to results on cars. Every now and then they hit one out of the park. I just don't think they're going to get it done with this particular car. This is the kind of car that maybe it is still worth $1 million, but I don't see it happening on P-Car Market because, as we say over and over again, and our good friend Anthony Vieira pointed it out a while ago, that look, P-Car Market has trained everyone on the platform to just sit on their hands and not bid, just wait and see what the car is actually going to be in the chum bucket. Because if this seller has an unrealistic expectation, if they think they're going to get a positive return, they think they're going to get 1.2 or 1.4 or something like that. Why bother bidding? Because you're just going to be wasting your time. This car is only going to get to maybe $600,000 or $700,000 in the normal bidding. So you may as well just like hang out and see how much they actually want for it in the chum bucket, aka the deal tank or marketplace. What do you think this thing will bring on P-Car Market, Deeb?
Interesting, JP. All right. As we said, our friends at classic.com tell us that the average selling price of a 722S Roadster, that specific car like this one here, is on average exactly $800,000 in the secondary market. JP, our car is currently sitting at $333,000 on 6 bids while it closes in just 17 hours from now. This car is going to close tomorrow on Monday. So JP, you could imagine a lot like this going a lot of different ways. It could peter out at like 500, 580. It could peter out at 6. It could theoretically get to 8, and that might not get it done because we know this guy bought the car for basically 1.1. So I'm assuming, like you are, JP, that they're looking for $1 million.
Yeah.
And man, if you ask me if I think this car today, right before Monterey, is going to bring $1 million at Hammer, no. Maybe they negotiate a deal afterwards that makes everybody happy, but I think everybody's going to have to concede something. The platform, the seller, the buyer, all those fees are going to have to be taken in to create one delta to bridge that gap. But we're here to predict what's going to happen under Hammer. JP, I like that this car sold on here before. I love the assets and I love the effort. And to that, I think they'll go far, just not quite to a sale under Hammer. I think if this car transact through P-Car Market, it will be post-Hammer. My bid, JP, going to be a fun one, $722,000. Who didn't see that coming? All right,
boom,
where you at, JP?
He just did that.
722 to you, JP. Tell me I'm not in the hunt.
Before I get to my number, what do you think it winds up in the chum bucket for?
I could see it at 1.2, or I could see it for 999,000, but somewhere resembling $1 million or more. But I think $1 million. I think it's going to wind up in the chum bucket for $1 million. I do think it's $1 million car. It's in great condition.
Yeah.
It looks mint, and it's a car to put away. If you're speculating, I'd put that one away for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you compare it to all the Mercedes Black series that are out there and how much those have spiraled down. If they had made these in a manual, if there was a version of this in 3-pedal, I could see it easily being a million and a half. I just don't think cars from this era without 3 pedals are really going to see appreciation much these days. I am going to go under you I'm going to go 650, 722 and say that it winds up in the deal tank, the chum bucket, for call it 1.3, which neither one is going to get it done. So I think this poor car is doomed. The only thing that could possibly save it is somebody, if a couple of guys see it and they're like, well, you know what, I want it to bring to Car Week, then maybe a couple guys fight over it just because this would be a great car to have
we'll have
there.
an auction.
And it's not too late to bring to an auction there, I guess, maybe at the last minute. But what do you guys think? Looks like we've got lots of bids all over the place. Some people are in the 500s. Nobody's up in the, absolutely no one thinks it's going to go for $1 million. A lot of people agree with us, though, that it is worth that. Shout out to the new guys, man. Thanks, Chris, for sending me a list of at least some of the new guys in the Nerd Herd. Welcome to Jim Gray, Gregory Grote. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing these. Aaron from Colorado, Shilmore 22, and Fulmar. Boy, I'm sure I'm messing up the pronunciations, but it's great to have you being here with us live in the Nerd Herd. Make sure you guys continue to have chats in the chat there, and everybody else, welcome the new guys. And again, if you're watching this live and you haven't introduced yourself, get in there in the chat, introduce yourself, shout us out, and we'll shout you out. And hopefully you'll come back a couple times a week and hang out with us every Wednesday and Sunday night. All right, let's get to the next car, Deeb. What do we got?
All right, JP, we also selected for our amusement this 1988 Porsche 911 Carrera Cabriolet that is on Cars and Bids. As we know, Cars and Bids is, I hate to say this because it sounds like a damning statement, but it's under new management. And as such, the new team has decided one of the first orders of business after firing all our friends, but is to open up and cast a wider net by opening up their platform parameters to sell older cars. And so feast your eyes, JP, on this very typical, and I don't say this in a mean way, basic bitch G-body 911. It's a G50 41,000 mile cab in black with the gray interior. I mean, man, JP, this is like right on the nose. This is the Wonder Bread of Porsche 911s. Cool car. Can they get it done? This car is in Berkeley, California. Send me tomorrow. I'll go crawl underneath it for you before 11 a.m. when this thing is going to hammer. Really nice car. This is JP. This is the car everybody wants. You got about 6 more weeks to drive it before the rest of the country starts to put stuff like this away. But this is like last call for cabinet. I can't say it. Cabriolets. Yeah, cabriolets. Because I think after Car Week, it's like you go out and do your last favorite road, do the Tail of the Dragon one more time, and then you start to winterize your car. Let's check in and see how they're doing with the old car stuff. JP, these are poor assets. It's a cell phone middle of the day effort. I'm going to say this. I'm parroting my partner who has been preaching this for 5 years on the show alone. You cannot shoot a black car in the middle of the day unless you have professional equipment. And even if you have professional equipment, you probably still wouldn't choose to shoot it that way. So when you shoot it like this, your photos are going to be mid to substandard. This is a nice car and it deserves a little better effort, especially when you're working with a platform that's trying to find its way with this type of product. Please, people, come correct or call us, hire the Bid Nerds. We can help you. God, we'd probably give you half the advice for free, but you do have to reach out to us. And I just see this as the client here, the owner of this car that is the seller, is starting this process by pushing a boulder uphill. And so the assets are off and it's a nice car and it should sell, it could sell. But man, it's like you went backwards instead of forwards. So, JP, I'll just lob it over to you. What do you see? Is there anything you like here with regards to this car? How hard is it to shoot an interior, JP, in the middle of the daylight? Oh my God. So where are you at? What do you like?
This is brutal. Cars and Bids is making great strides in getting people to come to their platform and to find classic cars that they weren't listing before. This is a new development for those of you who are new. Cars and Bids hasn't always allowed cars of this age. So here they are. We were talking about how on BAT there's over 100 Porsches on any given day available on that platform, whereas Cars and Bids they don't even have 100 cars at all. They've got, maybe a dozen cars a day on a good day. So this particular car has low miles, but it's 41,000 miles, but frankly, it looks like it's got 141,000 miles. Cars and Bids really needs to set the standard and raise the bar for their classic sellers. They need to say, hey, look, go take a look at the cars that our friend Chris Carbine is selling and how he's representing those cars. Spend some money on detailing the car. This car is a black car, like you said, Deeb. It's really hard to keep these clean and looking shiny. But look, a $500 paint correction on this thing would have made the car look 100 times better, right? And then on top of that, spending $1,000, $1,500 dollars on photography would have really made this car sexy. I don't know, maybe take a picture with the top down since it's a freaking convertible, and that's really the best way to enjoy something like this. I mean, but just shooting it with your iPhone in the driveway with your cell phone, Cars and Bids should have rejected this listing. Let me say it again. If anyone from Cars and Bids is watching, which sometimes they do, you guys need to reject people. You need to make it known. How often do we talk to people, Deeb, where someone says, yeah, my car was accepted on BAT? A lot of people still think that Bring a Trailer is being picky, right? They stopped that nonsense a long time ago because they set the bar. Everyone has these expectations that they've got to bring it in order to be on BAT. They don't actually care anymore. They're letting people sell Peugeot 405 MI16s on there, right? Who cares? Yeah, with a reserve, right? They don't give a crap anymore. They'll let anything on the platform. But Cars and Bids, you guys don't have that luxury. Doug DeMiro did a horrible job at setting the bar when it comes to aesthetics. His videos look terrible. They are great for what he does for content. Doug DeMiro shouldn't change a dang thing when it comes to his YouTube channel. He gets millions of views on everything that he publishes. But on the platform, when you're trying to sell a car, you've got to make it look like you give a crap as the seller, right? I mean, if I'm sitting there considering buying this car and I'm looking at these assets going, all right, they don't care at all about me. Clearly, they're just taking these crappy photos. They're phoning it in. Why should I bid on this car? Because I'm thinking that everything about this car is probably phoned in, from service to whatever. I mean, this car has the potential to be a fantastic car and bring real money, but it's just not going to do it on this one. What do you think it's going to bring, Deeb?
All right, JP. Our friends at Classic.com tell us that the average selling price of a 88 specifically, because I had to, when you go to Classic.com, they give you a range for the 3.2 Carrera convertibles, and that takes you from 84 to 89. But JP, you and I know that the 87s, the 88s, and the 89s have a different gearbox that brings a premium. So I had to drill down to 88s. That number specifically on Classic.com for this car is on average $57,000. Our car is currently sitting at $30,000 on 14 bids, decent action, and it's got a day to go. Now, with the short clock, we don't see Cars and Bids typically get big rallies in the final minutes. But JP, I think this car, it's G50, it's black, and it's got super low miles. I think this car is going to get to $64,000 at Hammer, and I do think it will sell for that. If it gets to my number, I think it sells. But here's the caveat, JP. Based on everything you said about doing a better job and coming correct, I'd say that this guy left money on the table with this platform. It's not that these assets would have brought him more on Bring a Trailer. It's that better assets here would have got him up to 10 grand more for this exact car in this exact factory. He could have parked it right there in the golden hour with a real camera and a real photographer and a paint correction, and he might have got $74,000, $75,000 on Cars and Bids. So people, do it right. Come correct. Listen to the goddamn Uncle Bid Nerds. And JP, what's your bid? I'm taking 64 And if it gets to my number, it sells. But damn, JP, you made a good point. And I think that 70 or more for this car all day long. G50s are hot. And this is a great low mile black example. Who wouldn't want that car?
Yeah, and even the gray interior, which isn't something people really dig very much, it has the black dash, so that really offsets the Dove interior. So it really would look spectacular, and you wouldn't burn your butt as bad on those sunny days here in Vegas.
In Vegas.
Yeah, where's it at right now? What's the number that's
30.
at right now? It's only at 30. Yeah, and how much time? We've got a day to go.
Tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I think we just don't see these late stage rallies on Cars and Bids like we do on the other platform on Bring a Trailer. So I think this car is going to struggle to break $50,000. I'm going to say 49,911 and say that it doesn't sell there. And if I owned it, I wouldn't sell it at that number. This car is definitely worth more, especially if those miles are correct. And people are asking in the nerd herd, does that top even work? Maybe that's something that's being discussed in the chat. We haven't gone through the listing to see, but there are a bunch of servos, and they're on the convertible tops on these. The actual windshield, the top of the windshield has motors in there. So when that top comes down and hits the windshield, the motors in the windshield frame clamp down and tighten the front of the top. So it's a very complex setup. It's ridiculously overly complex, unnecessarily complex, and can be very expensive to repair if it's not working. So I wonder if maybe something's not right, and that's why we don't see any pictures with the top going down. I'd be worried about that.
Somebody asked him specifically about the top, and then somebody else said that the top comes down in one of the videos that he produced. So for whatever reason, JP, he only furnished 54 photos. So as we go back to the standard that we're hoping Cars and Bids will enforce, I think if somebody shows up with a nice car, especially a car that's out of the range that you've typically been selling, and they submit 54 cars, I think I'd say, hey, we're going to hold up your listing and give you a little more time to go live so that you can go get the rest of the photos you need to get a retail number for this car. Or somebody looks at it and says, hey, you got to include still images with the top down too. You can't just do it in the video and think that that's enough. You've got to do a better job to get the retail numbers. Yeah. JP, I do not have a problem with your bid. Not at all.
And I think, again, we'll just say it one more time. Cars and Bids, if you want to raise the level of seller, if you want to raise the bar, you're going to have to reject some listings. You have to just say, if you guys want to make money on that platform, you got to make a little less money up front and raise the bar so that the sellers bring it and actually sell their darn cars. Because I think this is just an unforced error. There's no reason for this listing to exist. All right, let's move on. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. And how you guys doing? Are you guys beating our bids? How did you guys do against us? If you're watching the show and you're new and you're watching it after it's live, are you better at this than us? Let us know. Make sure you put in the comment what your bids are. If you're not watching this live and you're watching this later in the week, put in the comments what your bid is and timestamp it. See if you prove if you're actually prove your mettle. You think you're better at this than us? Put it in the comments what you think each one of these cars will go for, and we'll see when we come back on Sunday or Wednesday night. All right, what's the next car on the list? We still have a few cars to go. What do we got?
JP, up in Fremont, do the kids still wear the bills with the stickers? They leave the stickers on. Is that the urban style?
I'm too old to know that kind of thing.
I'm getting grief from Randy B, but thank God Gregory.
It's Frato Prima
back. Yeah, Frato Prima with the urban style. Thank you, Gregory, for defending me. At least somebody's got my honor. JP, I am pandering to the bid nerds crowd for my modified 1967 BMW 1602 listing. This car is running no reserve on Bring a Trailer right now. So our car's in San Rafael. In fact, it's right here in the warehouse with me. So basically, JP, from around the turn of the century to 2020, this particular car was treated from a 1600. They flipped to a 2-liter with like big old Webers and velocity stacks, and they put a roll bar in it. It's got a big fuel cell. And this car was a pure race car, a vintage racer here at Sears Point, Laguna Seca, and all this stuff. This car ran in the CSRG for damn near 2 decades. And it's not that it's rough, but it's got real stiff suspension and a real grabby clutch. It's a super cool car. It had like a little racing bucket and the harness and all this stuff. So this fellow that I know bought the car a couple of years ago, and he tried to sell it himself on Bring a Trailer back in December of 2022. At that time, the car hammered for about $21,000. And in his mind at that time, he thought the car should have been worth $30,000 to $35,000. And with that in mind, JP, the car failed to sell. So he's had the car for a handful of years. We've decided to partner up on a few cars. And so one of the first cars he asked me to help him with was this BMW. So we raised the ride height. We took the German flag sticker off of the grille to go with sort of the silver, and have a nice, more adult contrast to this beautiful Tampico vintage paint job that's on the car. He changed the carpet inside and put Recaro, really cool Recaro seats. JP, tell me you wouldn't want to have those Recaros in one of your old G bodies. They're really nice seats. And of course, it's a hot car. So it's, from this era, JP, the transition from race car to street car is really easy. This thing will run on pump fuel, so it's not a problem. It's probably making about 150, 160 horsepower. So it's a nice little rocket. It's really fun to drive. Again, that clutch is grabby, so first gear is kind of a pain in the butt, like from a stop sign. But once you're underway, it's fabulous. Fiberglass hood, fiberglass deck lid. The roll bar is still there, but it's easy to get in and out of, and it's just a fun little car, and it's going to wind up being a tremendous value when it hammers here in a couple of days. Again, running no reserve. My thought process is, JP, that if he got that 21 again, he'd be happy. So we are just trying to move this unit. Fun little car. He's got the stock hood and a second set of those little 13-inch mini light wheels. JP, I've never asked you this, or at least not that I remember you having an answer. Have you driven or you ever owned a 2002? And what's it like? What's it really like to get into one of those if you have on a back road? Like, I drove this car for photos, but I didn't get after it. You know what I mean? Like, we're getting ready to sell it and we just detailed it. So I wasn't like out there wailing on it. But man, it's a fun little car. This car handles great. I get what all the fuss is about. Have you had a similar experience in somewhere in your car journey with one of those, like a real 2002 back in the day?
I've never liked these. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I don't like the 2002s. And I'm going to tell you this right now, that this listing is changing my mind. Like, the 2002s are cars that I've always, because I like E30s. I've always been, when it comes to BMWs, I've pretty much been E30 or newer. Like, of course, the old CSLs or whatever are great, but those have always been kind of unobtainium. But looking at the photos of this car it's putting me over the line here. I'm sitting here looking at this thing. I'm looking at these pictures. You guys did such a great job. The color, the muted kind of minimalist style of this car. I think one of the Nerd Herd members was saying that maybe you guys should have repolished the grille or whatever. I totally disagree. I love the kind of just brushed aluminum look. I think everything about this car is perfect. I even like the stickers on the roll bar. I think that's a fun touch. I want to get in this car and drive it. Watching your video of you driving it looks like fun. Love it. Right?
Yeah.
And this is the lesson that our friends at Cars and Bids needs to learn, because we just talked about that 911, that 88 G-body G50 car that by all accounts should be a blue chip car. That is just a fantastic car. Everybody wants a 911, but a lot of people hate convertibles. If you take the right photos and the right videos, you can change people's minds. If the photos of that car were as good as the photos are of this car, I bet that you get someone that's sitting there going, you know what? I want a 911, but I can't afford a coupe, and I don't like convertibles. But gosh, now I'm looking at these photos and going, maybe I need to just pull my head out of my butt and get over myself and just realize that I can enjoy a 911 for half the price, right? That's the value proposition. But you're not going to get there if the photos don't do enough work to get you to go, yeah, I changed my mind. I didn't really like 2002s, but now I'm looking at this going, I think I want one. I might even want this one. I'm going to be paying attention. What's it going to bring? I know you probably don't want to say because this is your car. How do you want to do that?
Yeah, let me give you a little bit of numbers. So,
Okay.
JP, the big thing everybody comments on these early 1600s is the round taillights. Everybody calls them roundies, I think, is what everybody keeps commenting on social media. And the listing is that, oh, roundies are the best. So, this seems to be the best of both worlds in that it is a round taillight model, but it does have a built 2-liter that's putting out like respectable horsepower. And again, this car is running no reserves. So, JP, whoever gets it, every bid is a winning bid. I encourage everybody to go out there and mess around. So our friends at classic.com have two very different numbers for this car, JP. So 1600 twos, which these are referred to from the late 60s. The street cars, John, bring between like 20 and 21,000 bucks. But the race cars, which obviously have motors and suspension and brakes that have been gone through, the number for race cars is 29 grand. This is a former race car that is now being sort of transitioned to the street. It's on an on-op, so there'll be no penalties for it not having been registered on the road for a while. And you probably still need to do a few more things. I think this car is going to need like a defroster and some windshield wipers at some point if you're really going to enjoy it on the street. But all of the things that make driving one of these special have already been done. The suspension, the brakes, the fuel cell, the roll bar, the gearbox, the clutch, the whole thing, it's all done. This thing's got velocity stacks and it just sounds awesome. And that number is 29. So, JP, I will recuse myself from bidding. But again, this car hammered at about $21,000 a couple of years ago, and we're just kind of trying to get back to that with a better perceived expectation between me and the seller, and we're running the car no reserve just to move it. So, JP, what do you think is going to happen? We're just, I've gotten quite a few bids. We're at a bid count of 20, but I'm only at $5,800, and I've got 2 days to go. And of course, we're expecting, or at least I'm praying to God, we have a big finish at the end. John, what's your bid on a BMW 2002 that you're suddenly feeling?
Yeah, man, I think you guys are going to do well. I think the reason why the bids aren't very high is because everybody knows that, hey, this seller he's got stones, man. He's doing this no reserve. There's no reason to go ahead and bid right now. We're just going to wait to the end and go after it and have some fun. I mean, look, if you're going to bid on a car, you may as well have the fun. It is exciting to bid on a car. I don't see any reason why this car couldn't get well into the 20s. I'm going to say $25,002 and say it has the potential to go even higher than that, because this is, what do you get for that money? For $25,000 these days? I mean,
yeah.
I think the cars that are in that same price range would be like Mark II Volkswagens and stuff like that. But then you're talking about a front-wheel drive car. Screw that. This is way more fun and has way more style. I'm loving it. I think you guys are going to do really well. I'll be paying attention, and it'll probably shoot out of my budget very quickly. All right, what do you guys think? Looks like the nerd herd kind of agrees. Pretty much everyone's in the 20s. No one thinks that this thing isn't going to break 20. And I think we have bids as high as like 27 grand. So could this be at 30, you guys? What do you think?
Yeah, Brian. I hope Brian Ledden bids at 27,000. That'd be really good. We'll throw on a free hood. All right,
also
JP,
saying 28, so maybe, who knows? Yeah, right.
One more car from that very same seller. He purchased this car from a buddy of his. JP, feast your eyes on a 1968 Chevrolet Camaro Convertible. Cool car, right? SSRS with the little hidden headlights and all whatnot. Resto mods, of course, are all the rage, and you can go to your favorite catalog and pick out a motor. What better than a 383 stroker with a ramjet intake system and a big conical on the front of it? As I understand, it's putting out like 400 and something horsepower to the tires, which is really great. There's big sway bars and coilover suspension. They did a carbon fiber hood with a window so that you can see the motor, and then they grafted on a tachometer from like a Trans Am or a Mopar or something that is plugged in and actually works. It's reading the revs, and that's right in front of the driver, affixed to the hood. The rear deck lid is also carbon fiber and sports a little tiny like gurney flat ducktail on the back of it. That piece is also carbon fiber. It has a Hurst 6-speed shifter and Willwood drilled brakes. The only thing on this car I absolutely despise, and I can say it because it's our podcast, I can say it's my podcast, are the wagon wheels. It's got 20-inch Vision wheels that seem so horribly out of place on this car. But JP, that's the easiest thing in the world to change. A set of 16-inch rally wheels and some fat tires would easily be covered by the price of your Vision wheels in the secondary market.
All right, what's it going to bring? We got to move.
All right, JP.
We're down to the wire here.
Absolutely. So the car's sitting at $15,000 and it closes on Wednesday, right before we go live. According to our friends at classic.com, Camaros in the secondary market bring $92,000 if they're like resto modded. JP, I'm going to recuse myself. What's your bid on the Camaro?
Is this car no reserve as well?
No, this car does have a reserve.
This car does have a reserve. Yeah, I'm going to be paying attention to this car. I would consider purchasing this car. I think it's going to, those wheels are just, I'm sorry, they're just not acceptable. They're so horrible. I don't know what the reserve is, and I whatever it is, I think that it's going to be hard to get to it probably because of those wheels. And here's the thing. This might be an opportunity for someone. If you're considering this car and you like this thing, I think you might get a chance at it. Because those wheels are so bad, they're gonna scare a lot of people away, and you might be able to steal this car. And like my partner says, just go out and buy it. I mean, Chevy wheels, Chevrolet wheel pattern, lug pattern is very easy to get a sick ass set of wheels on this car, and that would completely transform it. You could turn around, put it right back on the platform, and make another 20 grand. I'm going to say 65 because this car should be $100,000 car if it looked right. I mean,
over 100 under the hood. Yeah.
Right. I mean, this is just, you can't duplicate this stuff. And we saw that Trans Am not too long ago that had the correct size wheels. They looked period correct, but they were just slightly bigger, and that car was, perfect. This car, woof. 65, chuck those wheels in the trash, spend another couple of grand on the correct wheels, and you've got yourself a $100,000 car. I think you're going to have a bunch of people looking at it thinking that they're going to be able to steal it. So, all right, let us know what you guys think. Let's just cover one more car. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Real quick.
Yeah, JP, Chris Carbine's 2002 BMW Z8 has come back to Cars and Bids, this time as a featured listing. This car has 28,000 miles, but we know that Chris's friend who purchased the car spent tens of thousands of dollars to redo the 3-layer hood and all the buttons and all the little knickknacks and the struts and the pumps and all the things. So this car essentially has been mechanically refreshed. It no-sailed much earlier in the year or the end of last year, like it no-sailed in the winter. Here we are in the dead of summer with fresh assets, and the car has come back to market. JP, it's currently sitting at $161,500 on 8 bids. The car closes in 2 days. JP, my bid this time around is going to be $230,008. Again, the average selling price of these is about 200 grand, but the Topaz blue ones bring 10% more. So I think 230 grand is in play. JP, what's your bid as we sign off?
Yeah, I'm going to go just a little under you at $228. This is a gorgeous car, and Chris is a great seller. If you guys are looking for something like this, definitely you need to consider this one. All right, we are going to move on because that's the end of the show. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. This is Bid Nerds. We will see you guys Wednesday night. Bye, everybody. Oh, check out bidnerds.biz. Bye.